The sky is falling in Ohio. Ohio's been at the center of so many strange stories we've been covering lately. Shout out to all of our listeners in Ohio. We love you. The sky is falling. Did you hear it fall yesterday? I have this here. Did a meteor hit Cleveland, Ohio? Are you in Cleveland? Did you get hit by a meteor? If you survived, please do call in explaining that loud explosion you heard. Residents in northeast Cleveland heard a loud explosion the morning of St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. That was yesterday. Was it an actual meteor? Dude, things are crazy right now. I was just laughing about how crazy things are to myself in my doomsday bunker, thinking about how, like, if we have a world-ending meteor, whether it's a real one or something that what's his name, Palmer Luckey created in his basement at Andrewville, that someone like Dom Luke Ray might film it and make sure to put a watermark on that footage to put it on Twitter in hopes of getting a payout and, maybe getting that payout before it actually hits Earth and destroys everything. I've just been noticing how much apocalyptic footage spreads online, and people putting watermarks on it is insane to me. Everyone's trying to be the first. Everyone wants to be the first to go viral with this footage, whether it's a meteor that might be changing directions in the sky. I'll talk about that in a minute. People seeing comets over Dallas, people seeing the supposed meteor or hearing it in Ohio. Peter Thiel's talking about the Antichrist down the road from the Vatican. That's just a normal, and that could happen in a year. That's just what the Antichrist does, or the guy who's building the digital Antichrist. 3i Atlas is like filled with alcohol now. That's the latest update I've seen, and also filled with water. So that's great for people who like alcohol. It's just so much funny stuff and insane stuff is going on. The narrative is really pushing in this direction of UFO disclosure, extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings. They really want you on board. So when things... Did you hear that? I think that was a helicopter shooting at me. When these things start to happen, like comets, they're seen in Europe, they're seen in Ohio, they're seen in Dallas. Now people are using them, and it's like, is it a UFO situation? And maybe. I think it's probably a tiny little man that we sent up there. It's Peter Dinklage in a big rock that we sent up there to scare everybody. It's as part of the way I see Project Bluebeam, this slow roll, this slow drip of information to slowly get you to buy into the narrative, to further divorce you from the reality we have here that I believe in, objective reality, that they are trying to convince you. It's like the next step, as I said a week or two ago, in the 40s, up until the 40s, a lot of people, so far as we can tell, believed that the Earth was a certain age. A lot of people believed it was around 6,000 years old, between maybe 6,000 and 8,000 years old. Obviously, we don't know for sure. And carbon dating is a farce. Trust the science. Okay, just trust the science. And now look at us. Now we have a majority of people who believe we could be billions of years old. And every day there's a new thing in the news about humans might actually be 7 million years old, 8 billion years old. They just keep changing the timeline of history. I think that's on purpose. I think they want you to think that you are much smaller and unimportant than we are. I think we're important despite how insane humanity is. I think we're really important. I think we're amazing, and we're made in God's image. And all of this science, I'm not hating on all science, because science can be great. But a lot of this new science, which is a cult, wants to remove you from the beauty of the world. It wants to divorce you from the beauty of the world. And so when I'm seeing this narrative push towards UFO disclosure, I'm not really buying it. I'm sorry. I think something's going on. There's something strange happening in the world, clearly. You don't have to have faith or share my faith to know that there is something supernatural at play. You're tuning into the show. In some form, you understand that we are not alone, all right, at the basic level. Something is going on. There are dark forces at play. A lot of it might be man-made, but there's also supernatural forces at play. And so we see these comet videos now, and we're putting our watermarks on it, and people are saying, "Is that changing direction?" And maybe they are, but then it's all being wrapped up into this idea of, well, it's UFO time. It's time to get everyone on board. We paid Spielberg to make that Disclosure movie. All right, that'll be out this summer. We started that rumor that Trump had a speech for Disclosure a month ago. So that started. We're gonna drop that speech in like June or July. We're gonna line it up with Roswell anniversary. Okay, that's perfect. This is like the boardroom. This is how it's going, right? With all the lizard people chilling out. Like, Hillary Clinton's now saying Trump's doing a good job with the war. Of course she'd say that. But they're also cousins. You might remember how we covered the fact they are distant cousins. That's right. Trump's and Clinton's ancestors crawled out of the same egg at some point. Oh, man. This is why it's hilarious. You got to laugh. It is insane out there, but it is beautiful. And if you're in Ohio, if Ohio's still there, look, I haven't seen it. I haven't been to Ohio in a minute. Ohio, if you're still there, do call in. We'd like to hear from you. Could Hollywood, it says here, really be on to something when it comes to the end of the world like Don't Look Up? Earlier this month, an asteroid was reported to be flying past Earth, and now residents in Ohio are wondering if a meteor was in their midst. People in the Cleveland area began their day on March 17th, 2026, St. Patrick's Day, like any other, only to be jolted by a loud explosion. The boom prompted many to speculate about the possibility of a meteorite on social media or worse. Reminds me of a story that happened to me just a few weeks ago. I was home alone. Not technically. Baby was asleep. Baby's taking a nap midday, and blue sky, beautiful day. And I'm walking from the living room to the stairs to go upstairs. And as I hit the first step, I hear the loudest boom. It sounded like a gunshot, like a rifle, but it was louder, honestly. And it sounded like it happened on the roof of my house. I went like this and got ready. I was like, all right, I'm about to draw. And nothing going on outside. I thought it was maybe a transformer blew, but that's a different sound, and we didn't lose power. But it was so loud, I felt it in my teeth. And the baby didn't wake up, thankfully. I checked the baby because I was like, did a tree fall? What is going on here? I didn't feel the house shake or anything. But as I'm reading this, did something happen in the sky that I don't know about? Or was it one of those random lightning thunder situations on a blue day that they, cause with their lightning airplanes? It was so weird. And I spent a good amount of time searching the perimeter and the house for what could have caused that. So I think about it a lot. I'm like, what the heck was that sound? No one went outside, as if I was the only person to hear it. So I don't know, maybe it was a meteor. So what was that loud explosion heard in Ohio yesterday? Here's what officials have said so far and everything else we know. The National Weather Service in Cleveland tweeted that the loud boom was the result of a meteor. The noise was heard by most people in Northeast Ohio. Man, if you heard that, I'd love to hear from you. The NWS cited geostationary lightning mapper imagery in its response to a person who tweeted, heard the loudest boom just now in Northeast Ohio. People heard it as far as Avon. What was that? Meteor? To which they said they shared an image of the latest GLM imagery. The image does suggest that the boom was the result of a meteor. So they're showing the meteor what appears to be a meteor, but it's like a heat signature. So if you guys heard that, I'd like to hear from you. It's a wild thing to hear. Dom Lucre, with all his watermarks and all the videos for the end of the world, says the alleged meteor that was spotted in Red Oaks, Texas, this is also yesterday, appeared to operate as if it was an alien ship. You see what I mean here? Dom's also been one of these guys who's been invited to the White House a lot, and the White House seems to be wanting to promote either war and or UFO disclosure. And shout out to Joe Kent for his resignation letter. I thought that was pretty sweet. I think we've done 1 or 2 shows together. We did a culture war back in the day with Hannah Claire, and it was awesome. He was a good dude, and much respect to him for that. Not a lot of that these days. Integrity. Not a lot of integrity is what I mean. But anyway, here we have Dom, who's been at the White House, who's probably got a press pass and has been told, perhaps I'm just guessing here, Dom, no beef here. Hey, we got to push the UFO narrative. Please share this video of a comet, which the comet is doing one of these, and then it does almost like they put it in a different direction, like steered it in a different direction. But this was seen over Red Oak, Texas yesterday. If you saw this or know anyone who did, give me a call. I'm not going to be doing calls tomorrow probably because I'll be with a guest, and that'll be up tomorrow night if all goes well, and looking forward to that. So we'll be back to calls next week on Monday. I'm going to try to do guests on Thursdays, depending. I'll be flexible. If someone can't do it Thursday, I'll do another day, but just a heads up. So Dom saying that was the 5th fireball spotted in the sky on this planet this week. Those are his words. It does look like it's weird if it's real though, right? It's weird if it's real though. A lot of people, upon hearing the news of all these fireballs, have been sharing an old image you might be familiar with. It's a great painting, a fresco. It's a medieval fresco, Visoki Dekani. It's from the Visoki Dekani Monastery, which is in Kosovo, and it's that image of what looks like a man in a spaceship that looks like a comet. It's kind of a mixture of both. It's pretty cool, and they date it to around the 1300s, maybe 1350, maybe earlier. But people are like, is it this guy? After seeing videos where this thing is swerving in the sky, as it looks like a meteor, but it is moving unnaturally. If it's even real, that's the thing. That's the thing. I guess we'll have to wait to hear from Trump. There's also pictures going around. I think of AI. I think everything's AI. Of people sharing what they believe was, I think the CIA took pictures of a UFO that was like downed in South America. It was interesting image. It was an interesting image, but I think it's fake. I think all this stuff is fake, but we're getting so much at the same time now. You saw yesterday that one of these Navy or Air Force guys is talking about the age-old story we've discussed quite a bit on the show. UFOs allegedly turning off nuclear capabilities. When I see that, I'm like, okay, we've seen this story for years, not just that goes back decades. And there's been soldiers or people who were overseeing these nuclear capabilities, facilities that said we were going to launch, and then a UFO appeared and it turned everything off. And there's a story going around that I think from the 60s, perhaps it was, maybe a little earlier, that there's footage allegedly of a UFO chasing a nuclear warhead. And it seems like, okay, maybe. Okay, and then we think about the narrative here, like we've just been talking about, what we're building up to, supposedly. It just seems that way to me. I taught a class called Narrative Studies for like almost 10 years. So in that class, we took apart the narrative. How does this start? What's the plot? How are they doing it? How are they seeding little bits of information almost into the reader's subconscious, right? To prepare them for the plot that will unfold eventually, right? So when they get to certain points, they'll be like, oh, wow, I remember actually looking back, I saw this happening here, but I didn't know where it was going, right? That's what the author's doing. A good author, it doesn't have to be like that, but in my opinion, a good author will do things. It's it's tough, but they'll do things to make it seem inevitable but surprising, if that makes sense. This is something me and some other writer friends talk about quite a bit when we're talking about how to finish a book or a screenplay. What is that ending? How do you make it resonate? How do you make it real but also shocking or surprising, or just something that drops like a thud in the soul of the audience, right? And there's so many different ways of doing that. But when you're looking and when you're studying narrative for so long, you don't have to do this in college. Clearly, just be a reader or be someone who loves watching movies. You understand that there is some sort of science to it. And so then I think about that class quite a bit and apply it to everything today, because like I've said before, I don't believe we're in a computer simulation, but I believe there is a false reality that's been like crushing, but it's been imposed upon objective reality. And that false reality is a narrative that is created by these narrative engineers. And it's not just social media, it's also corporate press, it's also independent media. You see a bunch of these people who, we're independent, we're alternative media, and they just sound like, corporate press, but just with the new talking points. It's the same thing, because it's human nature. But if you're observing the false reality, which is like the organic simulation that the media industrial complex and the military industrial complex wants you to buy into, you can see that this is kind of, it's been written, it's been, it's like destiny has been hijacked by these people. This is where you could bring in the ideas of predictive programming and stuff like that, where you can look back in our so-called reality and say, hey, why did they show us that in that movie? Why did they write about this then, but it went underreported? It's always building towards something. Because, there's people who will tell me, it's not like the movies. Your life, you're thinking about this like it's in the movies. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's actually crazier than the movies. The movies are a distillation, most of them, of how crazy the world is. You can't fit all of the absurdity of our world into a movie. People have tried. That's why I like David Lynch. But you can't, right? Typically, an audience doesn't want to experience all absurdity in 2 hours, all absurdity of life in 2 hours, right? So we distill moments, scenes, and dialogue into a 2-hour, on average, film or book, whatever. That is a kind of like a reflection of our reality. So I'm told, whether it's about the Epstein files or UFOs or conspiracy theories, and they're like, it's just not like the movies, man. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's worse. Life is crazier than movies. Life is much, much crazier than the movies. We have, if you read the Epstein files, we went over them for 2 weeks straight on the show. You'll see that, there are people talking about manufacturing wars. We see entire countries opening up investigations into child trafficking that took place in the aftermath of earthquakes. We're talking about widespread, ancient evil, unspeakable acts, weapons being moved around, new technology from like abductions, military abductions, to robot mosquitoes, to brain-computer interfaces. This is insanity. You can't fit it all into one movie. So that's my take when people say that. When people tell you like you're thinking about it like it's a movie, be like, yes, I know it's worse. Movies are easy. You could. I'm sure there's someone out there who'd be like, well, some movies are actually insane. You don't want to be in some movies. I get it, but we're kind of in. We got a little bit of Jurassic Park over here. We got a little bit of Close Encounters over here. We got people trying to bring back the woolly mammoth and the saber-toothed tiger. These are unprecedented times as far as we know. But a part of me thinks humanity has experienced this before. So I think about these ancient breakaway civilizations, these technologically advanced civilizations that might have broken away before some cataclysm, whether it was man-made or something else, and what they know, and if they're still around. We talked about people buying doomsday bunkers. A lot of the people who I believe are the foot soldiers for the narrative engineers, Zuckerberg, Elon, Thiel. Like, I don't think those are the people in charge. I think they're the faces we're allowed to see, and sort of the people we're allowed to like digitally throw tomatoes at. But there's people above that. Like the Rothschilds, I don't think are the ones, the upper echelon of these people. There's something deeper and darker going on that we don't have names or faces to. That seems pretty clear to me. I think they have such a handle on the narrative so much control over how we understand it, or how we think we understand it, that we can't even see how compartmentalized or how hidden the leadership is of all that. But there's also a meteor here seen in Dallas. People are freaking out. Again, they're saying, is this part of the UFO disclosure? Is it even a meteor? People are questioning everything, which is phenomenal. We should be. But don't stop at it. Don't stop questioning it. Just, is this a UFO? Be like, why are they making me want to believe in UFOs or believe in aliens? We see unidentified flying objects. Why are they making this such a big deal now? Why is it not taboo? What's happened with our society? We're 5 years, 6 years post lockdowns. We've seen a disintegration of reality, trust in media, trust in government. Thank God. We've seen a real revival. I would say there's been a revival of people coming to religion. Allegedly, according to some polls, if you believe them, they're hard to believe. Gen Z's got more faith than other generations, and they've really turned to Christianity. But then, I just want to stress: make sure you're getting good, sharpened theology out there. Very, very important. Very important. So much is happening. I think it's because the past 6 years have been so insane. For a lot of these younger people, they were like robbed of high school graduation. So they're coming of age, and some of these important moments that they've looked forward to for so long, whether it was sports stuff, whether it was graduation, whether it was going to college, whether it was just trying to enter the workforce, everything was ground down to a halt, and their lives stopped. And then they were pretty much forced to be online. I'm sure not everybody, but a majority of people on the planet were forced to be online 24/7 to interact with people, to watch the news, to play video games, to whatever, you name it, to Netflix, all that stuff. And our digital identities became so important, more important than they were. I think it got worse. Yeah, so meteors in Texas, meteors in Ohio. If you guys have seen anything, please do call in. The link, I always have the link on my social media accounts before I record, which is around 11 in the morning, Monday through Wednesday. Let's see if I have anyone waiting. I had some people reach out saying they wanted to get in. We shall see. I will keep it open and an eye on it. Sorry to those I missed yesterday. Hopefully you call back. What's next? Thank you all so much for the comments yesterday. You guys make me laugh. You're the best audience. You are the funniest audience. Alex and I are just constantly laughing at the comments because you guys are hilarious. And I am very grateful for you guys. Not only do you guys tune in and show love and support, but you are genuinely hilarious. Not hilarious is Peter Thiel's bloody, sweaty demon face. He's holding secret lectures on Antichrist in Rome, and that has sparked a debate. Speaking of Thiel in the end times, the billionaire venture capitalist and MAGA donor is in Rome. I love how CNN has to make sure for their readers, he is a MAGA donor. They don't say married gay man. He's basically Anderson Cooper just for MAGA. Anderson Cooper might have more power, honestly, even though Thiel's got all the money and the power with, the things he funds. What is Cooper? He's a Vanderbilt. It's ancient money. I'm sure they're friends. They probably eat little children together. Anyway, Peter Thiel's in Rome this week for a series of private lectures on the Antichrist. It's an event that the Vatican and the Pope are treating with caution. Thiel's talks are closed to the media and taking place at an undisclosed location. Sure. A portal to hell, I think, is actually where they're taking place. An invitation seen by the Associated Press says the co-founder of PayPal and Palantir Technologies will focus on the Antichrist, a figure in Christian teaching who comes to oppose Jesus Christ before the second coming. We've covered this before. We know about Teal's thoughts on the Antichrist. He legit thinks it might be Greta Thunberg. And look, I'm not a fan of Greta, but I don't think she's the Antichrist. And he has been on record as saying anyone who criticizes AI is a legionnaire of the Antichrist. Is that you? Is that you out there? Is that me? I'm pointing to myself. I guess that's me. And we covered about 2 weeks ago, the Pope put out that message to all the people in, like different bishops and what are they called? I forget what everyone in the Catholic Church is. Sorry to my Catholic friends. I just got pastors. But he sent a message out saying, don't use AI to write anything. So then I guess if you put two and two together, Peter Thiel would say the Pope is a legionnaire of the Antichrist. And maybe some people listening might agree with that. I just fear God. I fear and love God. And I don't hold any man above any other man. But I would like to see that conversation between Peter Thiel and the Pope from Chicago. I can't not think of the way they say Chicago at the end of there's an Every Time I Die song. Might be emergency broadcast syndrome from Last Night in Town. Anyway, but the appearance of Thiel on the Vatican's doorstep has raised eyebrows, given the tensions between Thiel's thinking and that of Pope Leo. Two Catholic institutions have distanced themselves from the lecture series, which continues through Wednesday. We know Peter Thiel says he's Christian, but he's also a married gay man. I don't know his heart, but he seems like an unrepentant sinner who wants to destroy humanity. He's building his private cities. He's got Anduril. He's got the surveillance state. He created our vice president in a Palantir test tube. Our vice president obviously being a clone of Michael Aquino. Go look at their faces. Peter Thiel's Palantir test tube baby, J.D. Vance, also killed the Pope. I'll never forget it. J.D. Vance flew to Rome, shook the Pope's hand, and he died the next day. That was weird. Maybe it wasn't anything. I don't know. Thiel has previously written and lectured on the subject, arguing that the Antichrist is not necessarily a person, but could come as a global government system. It would take control, he has argued, by exploiting people's fears around artificial intelligence, climate change, or nuclear war. And I believe there is some truth to these things, he says. I do believe that. It is about global government control. And it is about exploiting people's fears. But he's making it sound like the people who are opposing artificial intelligence are the ones who will help usher in the Antichrist. Whereas I think the AI is part of the surveillance state, false god situation. It's why Elon used to call it summoning the demon. I don't think, but I don't really know. I don't think that we can create something like AI that will become sentient. I think what will happen is people will want to redefine what a soul means, what a life means. Just like we had the debate over abortion, they will now forget about that, and they will start to debate about humanoids having rights, paying taxes, getting married. Guarantee you that is right around the corner. And with AI, with supercomputers, all of this stuff progressing at a really terrifying clip, those conversations are going to happen very soon. And you will be a legionnaire of the Antichrist if you are against it. And there will be more fracturing within the conservative movement, but also within Christians, which is nothing new. Nothing new. But you will see that there are these so-called Christians who embrace modernity, but they embrace, and there's nothing wrong with modernity. I'm very happy to be alive at this time. I love it. I love being alive. I love this planet. Despite all of its problems, the problems are cyclical, and we go through them in a pattern constantly. But we are creating things now that Christians are embracing that I think are systems of control where they want to try to play God. And Vance is very much at the center of that. I think he's a fraud. I know there's people out there who really like Vance. I was never a fan of Vance. I know the Teal connections. I think someone left a comment, actually. I don't know if it was on Twitter or on this channel, but they're like, you should read his book. It's funny. I've read most of the book. I thought it was perverse and not funny. And I thought it was fake. Like, I thought it was like, this is when I was reading his book, I'm like, this is when I started calling him Hillbilly Obama, because it felt like we have to create this character who will be endearing to what I think are very important people who are very forgotten in politics, which is Appalachia. And, there's a lot of, what was that sound? That's some sort of ghoul. Did you hear that ghoul breathing on the windows? Leave. But it was like, it felt like we were trying to create a character here. It didn't feel real. I know I have a bias to thinking most things are fake, but most things are fake. We are not the first people to fake elections. Rome had fake elections. This is cyclical. We keep faking things. And we understand, we just talked about it yesterday or 2 days ago. Everyone throughout human history who tried to be in power or who was in power knew the importance of a story. And they would do anything to fake a story, to make themselves look more heroic, or to hold or sustain control over their people. We know this. This is not new. So when I was reading Vance's book, I'm like, this just reeks of inauthenticity to me. And it's weird. Look, I've written things in the past. I'm probably like, maybe I wouldn't write that now. But everything I've written has been true to me. And Vance might very well feel the same way, but he's a politician who is deeply connected to Peter Thiel, who was mentored by him. And I just find it very bizarre. That's just me, though. That is just me. But I don't trust any politician. Even the ones who do things I really like, just can't trust them. Thiel also has reportedly expressed, maybe this is the Pope, actually. Let me go back. I want to make sure I'm getting this right here. Yeah, I guess so. Thiel also has reportedly expressed concern in his last lectures that Vice President J.D. Vance, a Catholic convert whose early career he supported, might become too close to the Pope. Oh, I didn't know that. Those remarks, well, he killed the last one, Thiel. Is that not enough for you? Is that not enough for Peter? Your son, your test tube baby, killed the last pope. Is that not enough for you? Now you're afraid he's going to get too close to the next one? The last time he got too close to a pope, he killed him. We all saw it. Those remarks reflect anxiety shared by parts of the Trump coalition about the papacy's global reach and independent moral authority. Thiel prefers a more nationalist, technologically oriented vision, while the Pope and the Holy See have repeatedly called for the strengthening of global institutions such as the United Nations. But Thiel is a globalist. He pretends to be a nationalist. The things he builds shrink the world into something so small that it can so easily be controlled by this omnipotent robot that Thiel has been building with CIA money since like 2002. Don't tell me this guy is pretending to be a nationalist. I don't buy it. They are liars. He doesn't care about democracy or the republic. He's open about that, and he doesn't care about. He's very open about being pro-monopoly. These people are not here to help you. Despite what they say, despite Alex Karp saying, oh, conspiracy theorists, this is my impression of him on meth, just like Elon. Oh, conspiracy theorists, they hate me. Do more reading, okay? Do more reading. I'm the one protecting you so you could be a conspiracy theorist. You are the one who defined the kill chain, Alex. This is the CEO of Palantir. That kills innocent people and children, okay? All right? Do we need to go into AI Lavender again? Like, we know what you do, or the pre-crime that you are trying to build into Palantir, or the offshoot of this, which Thiel has funded, Clearview AI with the facial recognition. You guys are not here to help anybody. You're here to help. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're here to help the government. You're here to help the federal government stamp its boot on the people. Okay. All right. Man, these people make me angry. The Teal lectures are being organized jointly by the Vincenzo Ghiberti Cultural Association, Buongiorno, which aims to renew Italian political culture and make the restoration of Catholicism as the cornerstone of national identity. And the Cluny Institute, which is based at the Catholic University of America in Washington. Well, be interesting. I wish Teal would record these, but I guess he doesn't want us to see him sacrificing babies to Baal. Peter Teal. I thought this was fun. Interstellar Messenger 3i Atlas could be nearly as old as the universe itself. James Webb Telescope observations reveal. It's been a while since we talked about 3i Atlas. I thought we were long overdue. This is just from a few days ago. The comet formed in a cold and distant part of the early Milky Way up to 12 billion years ago. That's a fake number. Potentially putting it just under 2 billion years, the age of the universe. Interstellar Comet 3i Atlas is up to 12 billion years old, and unlike anything found in our solar system, new James Webb Space Telescope observations suggest. You remember 3i Atlas's first run here through all the headlines. Every day there was something new. It was like the size of a football field. It was 1 billion pounds. It was spraying water. It was radioactive. It was alive. It was from another universe. It was the beginning of the origins of human species. It was a hologram. It was fake. It was just a thought experiment. It was Avi Loeb's creation to distract us from the Epstein files, because the very first day that we all heard about 3i Atlas happened to be the day that also in the headlines was Ghislaine Maxwell possibly getting pardoned, which is still a possibility. Comet 3i Atlas became a celestial celebrity last year after the interstellar visitor was discovered hurtling through our cosmic neighborhood, or fake space as we like to call it here on Inverted World, not long after online speculation suggested that the space rock could be an alien spacecraft. However, most astronomers are confident that 3i Atlas is a comet from an unknown star system. How long will it be until they tell us 3i Atlas slipped through a portal, slipped through a wormhole to get here, and then we're going to trace its steps with our telescopes back to the entrance of the wormhole, and we're going to send Anthony Fauci through it. If that happens, I will support fake space for once. Maybe that'd be great. Send Anthony Fauci to the wormhole. We can give him a spacesuit. That's fine. Give him an iPod, nice playlist, ham and cheese sandwich, and all the boosters he needs for the wormhole. They suggest in this peer review that the comet formed in the cold and distant region of the Milky Way around 10 billion to 12 billion years ago. That would make Comet 3i Atlas more than twice as old as Earth, which they say here is now 4.5 billion years old. I would love to know in the chat how old you think Earth is. Let's do a study here. Let's do our own poll. Maybe I'll even have Alex put up an actual poll on our community notes part of this channel. But while we're all just hanging out right now, how old do you think Earth is? I think it's around 6,000 years old. And I feel confident about that, but I'm confident in my faith, despite the questions I have about existence. It's just impossible not to with being a feeble little human. I don't have the answers to everything, but I know God's in control, and God is the one who knows all answers. And I just got a little brain here. Like, I'm not as smart as a dolphin, okay? I'd like to be, but in my reading of the Bible, I think we're around 6,000 years old, give or take, I really just don't accept carbon dating, and I don't accept these billions of years. But I know people disagree, and I am all for it. So let us know. Are we a trillion years old? Is it possible maybe that there have been other civilizations and they were here 8,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago? Let us know what you're thinking age-wise, but also let us know what you're thinking about ancient breakaway civilizations. If I think if I think we're around 6,000 years old, I think that gives more than enough time for technologically advanced civilizations to rise and fall. So what do you think about that as well? Just something to consider. Because part of me thinks that they as in whoever's behind disclosure is going to try to wrap it up with the idea that humans have been into deep space before. Ancient astronauts, perhaps, which would become our future aliens. That is my prediction right here on March 18th. That's why I had a short-lived band called Future Ancestor a long time ago. It was just me and a Radio Shack keyboard. I wrote everything on a Radio Shack keyboard, and then my buddy Elliot recorded everything. Elliot was a drummer of, what was he in? I want to say he was in Through the Eyes of the Dead, but he might have not. He might have just toured with them. I'm so sorry, I forget what band. He was in a lot of bands that we used to play with back in the day. But Future Ancestor was more like me doing synth music with my Radio Shack keyboard. It's this giant 88 key synth. I love it. I still have it. Battery powered, and I brought in friends to play stuff on top of it. One of them, I mentioned my friend who took his life. That was Jim, and he's on that record. It's somewhere online. My buddy Will's on drums. Will is this close to being the drummer for Glassjaw. He's an amazing drummer. My friend Jay, who is also in oh man, I'm forgetting names of my bands now. That's what happens when you're getting attacked, targeted by the Havana Syndrome. I had a bunch of bands. After my metal band dissolved, I did a bunch of other projects, and I can't keep up with all of them. But we were called Future Ancestor because I was thinking back then, this is probably 15 years ago, about ancient astronauts and people traveling from ancient civilizations, breaking away from Earth to survive, whether underwater or somewhere in some corner of the dome that's above us. But everyone's favorite people, the CIA, has been accused of, you ready? Poisoning the sky, according to the Daily Mail, with toxins as files expose secret weather control agenda. You watch this show, you know about this. You guys know about it. You don't have to watch the show. You can just look at the sky. Just look at the sky. Obviously, they've been dumping poison out of the sky for decades. Once top secret CIA files have detailed America's plans to control the world by manipulating the weather. Oh, how I'd love to have a second debate with the cloud boy with the mullet. That was a fun little talk we had. And he's a nice enough guy. He was nice, all right? And I had to tell him, though, how it is, because I don't agree with anything he does. And he's also, connected to Teal. He's got Teal money. He probably has to give Teal a vial of blood once a week. The documents, declassified in 2003, discussed the controversial topic of weather modification, the tactic of launching rockets, or using planes to dump chemicals into the atmosphere that alter the climate and local storm systems. Although the surface documents from 1965 did not mention the specific chemicals used in the experiments, they did discuss the need for more funding of the weather modification projects that would soon be used as a weapon of war. We know, but it's so funny to keep seeing this in the news. How many things that were once taboo are not taboo now? I think it's because they're making room for new taboos. So they're just dumping all this stuff on us now. Distract them, overload them. We got to make room. They're deleting all of the big videos off their phone to make more room for a new crazy video. In fact, they say here in the Daily Mail, the memos noted that federal funding for the secret program was set to be 4 times higher in 1967. The same year, the U.S. began spraying toxins over Vietnam to cause floods and landslides. Is it going to say here? I didn't read the whole article. But we know that was Operation Popeye. One post on X claimed the CIA has been poisoning the sky and controlling the weather since 1965. Yeah, it probably goes back before that. The 18-page report was recently shared by conspiracy theorists years after it was quietly placed into the CIA's public archives, including a letter praising the classified operation from U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson. Is it Roger Stone who believes Johnson was, like, he believes, like, very confidently that Johnson killed JFK? I've seen a few interviews with him saying that. Very, very possible. LBJ was a wild man. Johnson's endorsement of the CIA's weather modification project came just 3 years after he gave an ominous speech on the future of America and the work to create weather satellites with the power to strengthen storms. While giving the commencement address at Southwest Texas State University in May 1962, then Vice President Johnson said, "He who controls the weather will control the world." That's not a good LBJ. I felt a little nefarious there. Just 18 months after giving that speech advocating for the U.S. to control the weather, LBJ became the 36th president and would oversee two infamous projects designed to manipulate the weather. Here we go. It's Project Storm Fury and Project Popeye. Following the speech, the records showed real government programs were already underway by 1965, such as Project Storm Fury, which flew into hurricanes and seeded them with a freezing agent called silver iodide to try to weaken the storms by disrupting their inner structures. Johnson's letter, which is among the 18-page CIA report from September of that year, specifically mentioned the project's work in manipulating a recent hurricane near Florida believed to be Hurricane Betsy, which made landfall in Louisiana as a major Category 4 storm. Now, people do believe that they sent it in a different direction they didn't mean to, depending on who you read. And I think in some of their own reports, if you go out and look through them, they were trying to steer it off course, but actually they sent it to another place, like on land. They're trying to get it off land. It went to Louisiana, as it says here. By 1967, however, this work expanded to Popeye, which was used against enemy supply lines during the Vietnam War to artificially extend the country's monsoon season. That is not the full story. A lot of it was trying to, so they want to prolong the monsoon season by also making stronger monsoons that would wash out a lot of the tunnels, a lot of the structures that they had underground from that the Viet Cong had. Intelligence officials also noted that they had the full support of Johnson, who was determined to beat the Soviet Union's efforts to control the weather as global tensions escalated. We were also really working on mind control at the same time. Weather control and mind control. Weather control and mind control. Two things happening today all the time. It never ended. The U.S. government has maintained that weather modification has been used only to help weaken dangerous storms and induce rain in drought-stricken areas, just like how Elon says this Neuralink is just going to help the paralyzed walk again. He just said yesterday they announced, our Neuralink is about to give sight back to the blind, and that is amazing. I want the blind to see, if they want to see. But it doesn't stop there. It's going to always go into how can we turn this into a mechanism of control. And they probably already asked themselves that question at the very beginning of the birth of Neuralink. And they're like, okay, just tell the people we're going to give sight to the blind. We're going to do this whole thing that we always do. We're going to pretend to be God. We're going to resurrect the dead. We talked about Meta doing that. We talk about bringing sight back to the blind, healing the sick. We're going to name the first Neuralink Eve. Okay, everyone's cool with this? Cool, okay. Lizards all nodding in a boardroom underground, smelling like sulfur. Great. And we'll control the weather. And we'll just tell them it'll just weaken things. We're never going to make it worse. We're never going to make tornadoes. We're never going to make earthquakes. They're totally safe. Just wait until they find out we made volcanoes. That's next. However, conspiracy theorists sharing the files have accused the CIA of using these projects to keep the world dependent on government by weaponizing storms, blocking sunlight, and poisoning food supplies to intentionally make people sick. Operation Mongoose in the JFK files openly talks about the CIA weaponizing chemicals in the sky to destroy food supplies. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This isn't just people who are like, well, I think they're watching me all the time. Like they are watching all the time, because the CIA, the very same people who are doing this with storms and mind control, are also paying Peter Thiel after they blew up the Twin Towers to create a surveillance state while we pass the Patriot Act. Yes, they are always watching you. That's what they want. They want to, the major apparatus of the system right now is people who want to be God. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what transhumanism is about, and globalism, this technocracy, the technate. This is what these people want. So I get it. The Daily Mail has to throw in their conspiracy theorists, although, they're kind of being nice. They're kind of playing nice. But this is people, we're saying this because it's just based on the literature that we're reading from their own files. We're not just pulling this out of thin air. The air that's been riddled with your poisons. Ah, man. And the conspiracy theorists are saying that they're trying to intentionally make people sick. No, we are literally just mentioning this because we know about Operation Sea Spray, or all the other times you've dumped chemicals or biowarfare chemicals into the subway, or let people die slowly of syphilis. Okay, this isn't conspiracy theory, people. This is just history. Those allegations focus on the so-called chemtrails, the white streaks seen coming from the high-flying jets on clear days, which appear to spread out and dissipate very slowly. And that is true. They're not contrails. Don't let these people out there, the same people who are like, it's not like a movie, no. Don't let them conflate contrail with chemtrail. I'm happy to see here, so far as I can tell so far, they're using chemtrail correctly. Because they'll be like, no, contrails are... they slowly go away. But yes, okay. There are contrails, and those are the small tails behind a jet that disappear quickly. The white streaks that mutilate the sky, that stretch across and make X's sometimes over your neighborhood, are not contrails. Those are what we call chemtrails. And I don't know exactly what's in all of them. I think it's different, and they probably have different flavors for different areas. Different medicines. We've talked about aerosolized vaccines. Imagine what they're going to want you to take when they tell you the extraterrestrials are coming. And if you want to hire one, you got to get this vaccine. We are in for exciting times. When will be the first extraterrestrial president? We probably already had one. And by extraterrestrial, I do mean demon. And I guess that's all of them. Ever since the start of the government's weather modification efforts, conspiracy believers, that's a good one, have said these streaks are filled with a host of dangerous chemicals being sprayed by military jets and commercial airliners over populated cities. And it's not just that. It is for sure that, but it's also, they're geoengineering with this stuff. They have been open about saying we want to just block the sunlight, okay? Because we believe in climate change. We're a death cult. We want to kill the sky. We got to block the sun, okay? We want real dark ages. We know the original dark ages weren't really dark, okay? But we want to make actual dark ages. Are you up for that? It doesn't matter what happens to you people, because we are a breakaway civilization. We have doomsday bunkers, and we're going to live out another 1,000 years because we keep drinking the blood of the young that we steal from you. And that's why we look this way. I know it's hideous. We can't help it. This is what happens when you are a cannibal. All right. But look, we're going to save you. We're going to block the sun. Okay. You don't have to worry about climate change anymore. Just don't go outside and take all your vaccines. Those long-lasting trails that turn blue skies into milky haze for hours, not condensation. That's poison falling on your family or water your lungs. One person on social media alleged without proof. According to U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and environmental researcher Dane Wigington, that's awesome. Shout out to Dane Wigington in the Daily Mail. Chemtrails allegedly contain toxins and metals, including aluminum, barium, strontium, and even mercury. Those materials are put in jet fuel, RFK Jr. claimed in April 2025. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it, find out who's doing it, and holding them accountable. What happened to that? Because you said the same thing about glyphosate. and Trump just gave glyphosate get a jail free card. The vast majority of scientists have long declared this theory as false, arguing that most condensation trails or contrails are the result of water vapor from aircraft exhaust freezing into ice crystals as they hit cold air at high altitudes. Not that. However, the declassified files and former President Johnson's own words have revealed new evidence that the U.S. was in a Cold War battle to master weather control technology before the Soviet Union, obviously. Records disclosed to the public after the Vietnam War showed the U.S. seeded clouds with a toxic substance called lead iodide in order to increase rainfall near the Ho Chi Minh Trail, causing landslides and making the route impassable. There you go. Lead oxide is toxic to humans because it contains lead, which can cause lead poisoning with symptoms such as headaches, fatigue, abdominal pain, neurological damage, kidney problems, and developmental issues in children. But let's just pump you filled with all the big pharma stuff we could possibly do. And imagine how that's going to add and mix up well in your brain and nervous system when you breathe in all the poison we have been dumping out of the sky. You think the dolphins got it bad. I mean, you got it bad too. I'm sorry. And you and the dolphins are victims of MK Ultra. Here's guns. Which, please, I mean, that, if anything, as a consolation, just give us all guns, with our tax returns, send it out. But I don't really want one from the government, obviously, unless they it's a ghost gun where they just scratch off the serial number. And I don't want them knowing anything, obviously. But again, there's video out there of people 3D printing their own missile rockets. So now you got to worry about that. But also, if you got to worry about it, that means you got to get one for yourself. Everyone needs a rocket. Everyone needs their own 3D printed rocket. Dane Wigington, environmental researcher for 30 years, claimed that the conspiracy surrounding chemtrails was not only true, but has actually crippled the Earth's ability to naturally overcome the pollution caused by humans. He said that lab tests on rain samples, photos of specialized planes carrying these chemicals, government documents, and whistleblower testimony all show clear evidence that a secret program has attempted to weaponize weather. Soil tests estimated that airliners allegedly equipped with secret nozzles and tanks on their wings filled with aluminum, barium, manganese, graphene, and various polymers dumped between 40 and 60 million tons of nanoparticles in the sky annually. And don't forget, we've gone over stories where it's also raining cocaine and birth control. Don't forget. Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to see if we got any callers lined up. Give me one sec. Well, it looks like we have a return caller. Let's bring him in now. The one, the only, Lord Awesome Sauce. Joining any minute. Lord Awesome Sauce, let us know when you can hear the show.
Oh, I got you, buddy.
What's up, man? Good to hear from you.
All right. Listen, I'm on speaker. Is that throwing off your reception of me? Like, nope. Are you getting that?
No, you sound good.
Hello?
Hey, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I took myself off speaker just in case that was
cool.
Giving an issue. Anyway, I just want to tell, because I was watching the show last night, a few beers deep. You mentioned there were other callers yesterday, so as a just like a tip for everyone, if Zoom does crap out on Shane will start that group again. So if you got dropped while waiting to talk, just go back into that call, or click that link again, I guess. Right, Shane?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was a Cody, and then Paranoid American was there. He should be back at some point. But yeah, we lost them throughout the process. So I said the same. If it drops, we'll get you right back in, and if we run out of time, hopefully you come back the next day and we'll get you in.
And so you were. I saw one of the topics was comets, right?
Yeah, dude. People in Ohio heard a crazy loud boom yesterday, and they believe it was a meteor. And then people in Dallas and Red Oaks, Texas, also saw what they think is a meteor, but some people are saying it was moving in an unnatural way. Are you there? Did we lose you? Lord Awesome Sauce, are you with us? It appears he's been abducted. If you've been abducted, we will send out a search party. We won't wait for it. Can you hear us?
You just dropped out for like maybe 15, 20 seconds.
Oh shoot.
But yeah, the comets thing, that's also, you remember me talking about the Chris Bledsoe UFO of God guy?
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is all coinciding with the prophecies. When Iran and Israel start exchanging missiles and things like that, there was a crazy seismic activity that was happening. I don't know if I sent it to you on Twitter or maybe it was someone else, but someone was showing like worldwide seismic activity is going crazy. I do know there is the part of the torrid asteroid belt, but usually that hits in the fall. That hits usually around like Halloween time.
Right.
So I don't know where these are coming from, but like you were saying, like some seemed like regular comets, and then others seemed like they were acting independently. And as we know, going back to a lot of the medieval paintings from back in the day, there was always like crazy spiritual stuff happening with comets, and you would see like people drawn inside of stars.
I actually brought that up earlier in the show today. That's funny. Yeah, there's that one from was it Serbia, an old painting. It looks like a man, like an ancient astronaut inside of what looks like a comet spaceship situation.
Yeah. So if you go back into the Bible, it's actually the Bible. It's when they start talking about the angels and how they first appear to us. They start off kind of similar to jinn. In they come as a, the jinn says it's a smokeless fire, and that's basically what this stuff is. It's a ball of light. Whether you want to say that all jinn are bad, you can, or it could be angels, because if they are spiritually related to each other, one's sort of took the dark side and the others took the light side of the force, whatever you want to equate it to. They come down as they first appear as stars. The Native Americans, they used to call them the star people, the star brothers. Whether they come from the stars, like in a physical, UFO ship, or whether they come out as a ball of light and then a physical human-like entity sort of comes out of that ball of light. And that's kind of what I think that one with the guy painted as the shooting star in the sky, that you mentioned, I think that's kind of what it was. And I do wish, but yeah, you should check out Ryan Bledsoe's, that's the son of the UFO guy. Yeah. Check out his Twitter, because he's always posting like awesome like videos of orbs and everything like that. Put it more in a spiritual context for you.
Yeah, I have been following them. What do you think's going on? Like, there's so much of this stuff it seems to be not taboo now. We're getting Trump talking about UFOs every day. There's new UFO disclosure news. Missing generals, they're saying attached to UFOs. Air Force guys saying they've seen UFOs turn off nuclear capabilities. Do you think we're leading to some revelation with this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. It does feel end time-ish, although, you know, naysayers will also say, like, every generation thinks it's the end times. Well, you know, if you have a blueprint and you've been following that for a while, you know, it's kind of hitting a tipping point here. There is the prophecy that both Edgar Casey talking about when the ruby meets the Sphinx's paw, a new chamber or a new knowledge will, you know, break through. That's supposed to be happening starting this spring, and I believe it's happening all the way to fall. But like,
I'm not familiar with that. Can you tell us more about that one?
So, okay, so let me just give a quick primer on Edgar Casey. He was known as like the American Nostradamus or the Sleeping Prophet. Mm-hmm. He was functionally illiterate. He couldn't read, and he had an apparition. He was just being real sad and disappointed that reading wasn't working for him. And so, as a child, he was walking through a forest, and a white light appeared, and it was a spiritual lady. And she asked, like, what can I help you? And he's just like, I just want to be able to read and help people. And then so, you know, whatever happened, he then started falling. And then, so, you know, he goes back home. He's trying to study. He's trying so hard to read. Might have been some dyslexia or something, some other learning disability. Could have been lead levels, anything affecting, or mercury levels. A lot of people at that time like to rub mercury on things. Andrew Jackson famously, he would have cancers and then drink a whole bunch of mercury for like 3 days. Didn't kill him, turned him crazy as all hell. And then he would go on like a week-long detox. So, you know, if you want to tell Tim, he hates cilantro. But cilantro has been well known for centuries, including Newton.
I love cilantro.
Tasted like ungrateful. He says mercury tastes like ungrateful chicken. So, cilantro is actually a detoxer, and Sir Isaac Newton, one of the thought leaders during our American sort of revolution time. The one in Europe, the one said, like, I disagree with what you say. Voltaire? No. Maybe it is. Anyway, one of those guys went to Newton because Newton was also working with alchemy and figuring out the Enochian language and doing ceremonies to pull angels and question them. Okay. Anyway, back to the Edgar Casey. Edgar Casey then, he went home. He was trying to study. He ended up falling asleep on his school books. And he found out when he woke up, he retained all that information. He didn't even read it. He fell asleep on the books. And like there was 3 books that were all like stacked up or something. Like maybe I'm misremembering a reenactment from like a documentary or something. But he found out. So like learning through osmosis, you know, like that joke, like that actually was attributed to Edgar Cayce.
I didn't know that.
Because when he would start falling asleep on his books, he automatically, through his sleeping, almost like maybe his out of body experience that he couldn't remember upon waking up. Maybe he should have done some dream journaling. You know what I'm talking? Right. And so then he ends up like getting really ill from like flu or some sort of thing where he was essentially in a coma, and there's like a hypnotist came to sort of like, or maybe it was something weird, and a hypnotist went to try to maybe see if there was a way to heal him, and then all of a sudden a voice that wasn't his as a child, like a deep, like, adult voice, started talking out of his body while he was unconscious, saying, like, the way to heal the vessel is to do this, and, you know, like, made some, gave a recipe for, like, a soup or some shit. And that's when they started giving it to him, and he got out of it, and then he found out he can go into a sort of hypnagogic state, and some people tried, getting lottery numbers from him, or maybe not lottery, horse betting or dog races, or stock information. And as soon as that happened, like he got like slammed really hard spiritually for that. Because, you shouldn't be making profit off of this stuff. You shouldn't be making profit off of profits. And so then his secretary kept doing it. Anyway, this is so some people, mostly Freemasons and Knight Templars, I thought the Knight Templars were like virtually gone, but I didn't know that they essentially secretly relocated here. And that's the story of like Timothy Hogan. If you follow anything about Timothy Hogan and the Knight Templars, so they were on a thing to find all these like lost knowledges and secrets. Supposedly they have a whole bunch of works. So only those type of people kind of knew about Atlantis. Okay. And when Edgar Cayce was going in this state, his secretary was recording everything he was saying, shorthand, and she then, he was analyzing after the questions were being asked. He was like reading his responses. And he was just like, Atlantis, what is this? So then he started going into Atlantis, and then he did the prophecy about Bimini Road. And it did sort of come out at around the same time. And then he also was talking about, because he was going into the Akashic Records. And he was like the first person to kind of like talk about it in the U.S. The Akashic Records, I believe, is a Indian Sanskrit term. And, he probably wouldn't have known anything about that. So, but all he's saying is just like, yes, no, I'm in the Akashic Records, and, there's good channels and bad channels, trying to figure things out. And then that's where he was told, or he reiterated a prophecy while in the trance state, talking about the Sphinx. And there is a hidden chamber under the Sphinx's like left or right paw or something like that. And there is a chamber under one of those paws. And it's said that when the star of Regulus, so this is how it hits both the Chris Bledsoe experience and the Edgar Cayce thing. He was told when star of the Leo constellation Regulus, it's usually a blue star, it'll turn red in the dawn sky when it meets the gaze of the Sphinx. So that ruby, talking about unlocking the Sphinx and the new knowledge, that is also the Chris Bledsoe prophecy at the same time. And that's supposed to be happening. They originally thought it was going to be in the fall. Now they think it might be in the spring. So I'm just thinking it's going to be happening all around. Now, I don't know about you, but over here in Chicago, dude, we've been having nutty weather. I've lived in Chicago all my life. Never, ever, ever had this crazy weather in February or spring. Walking around like it's 75 degrees out. Then the next day we get like, a couple inches of snow.
Yeah, dude.
Florida getting hit with like 20 degrees a few months ago.
Yep. It's been very weird. Okay, I've seen this guy, Edgar, before. I've seen this picture. I looked him up. Was he on your mind for a certain reason today? Before I tell you this next part,
say that last part.
Were you thinking of Edgar Cayce for any other reason today? Like, was he on your mind before you called in?
No, not at all.
Because guess what? Today's his birthday. Yes.
No.
People can rewind and see the part where I'm listening to you and then my eyes widen as I'm looking at a picture of him and I see his birthday. It's March 18th. We're March 18th. That's crazy.
Dude, yeah. And then, a couple more days and it's my birthday.
Oh, nice.
22nd is National Donald Day. So,
Incredible. Well, happy birthday,
Yeah, right.
happy birthday to you.
yeah. But yeah, I just think it's messed up that my birthday is National Donald Day.
What even is that? What is National Donald Day?
It's March 20th. I have no clue. I first learned about it from Tim a few years ago. I'm like the only Donald born on Donald Day, which is pretty nutty. And then you want to, go back with, the mysterious number of 322. I don't know. All this stuff is crazy.
Wait, National Donald Day? That's what it's called?
Yeah.
All right. I got to look this up.
And it's not National Donald Duck Day. That's a totally different day.
I see that. Okay. It's a fun observance on March 22nd, honoring and celebrating all people named Donald, recognizing the name's Gaelic origins, meaning, oh yeah, I forgot that. Donald means world ruler. I always forget that.
Yeah.
So wait, you're a Donald and you happen to be born on National Donald Day?
Right. And like, I was born in like 1980, man. Like, this National Donald Day probably wasn't even around then. It was probably like sometime later.
Yeah.
That like someone decided to make a bizarre, like National Hot Dog Day, which is also a great day.
That is really weird, dude. That is really weird. I love that I know that now. Well, happy early birthday to you.
Well, thank you. So yeah, Edgar Casey. Wow, that's crazy. Also, I believe right around then, the first and second Ninja Turtle movies, the original, live action ones, those were like around this week too. I think they debuted.
Really?
Because I remember during my birthday growing up, I got to see the Ninja Turtle movies.
Those were great movies.
I thought that was awesome. That my favorite cartoon and comic book evolved into a movie that came out on my birthday. Like that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway,
amazing. March 30th, the first Ninja Turtles movie came out on March 30th. I also remember that very well. Seeing in the theaters, I loved that movie.
Those were great. Those dudes, man, those were foam rubber suits, and probably got really, really heavy, absorbing all their sweat.
Yeah.
Those performances were great. Anyway, let's go. I wish there was a way to listen to the show before, like, we call in, kind of like I was able to do,
Right.
with the old inverted world. That would be. Because then I didn't even know you were talking about dolphins. And I actually had some information on dolphins.
Let us know.
Now, the Atlanteans were said to be friends with the dolphins. The Minoan civilization, there's pictures of them with dolphins, like jumping, riding along the side. And you could see the pictures on, like, pottery or vases. The fishermen like throwing fish that they caught to the dolphins. It was pretty cool. But not about those fish food stamps for those dolphins. They get a little angry when you don't feed them, right?
Yeah, seriously, we get aggressive. The dolphins are aggressive, and when they're hungry. Or horny, I guess, is what they kept telling us in these articles. It'd be nice to find a way to do it where I can have people listen in. I mean, ideally, I just get to go live again at some point. I figure that all out. So this is what I'm working with for now. But it would be nice.
No, I mean, as long as the show is back, and we can call in, that's awesome. But I did want to tell you other things. That's the other thing. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, there was the dolphins in that.
That's right.
Are you familiar with like the whole series, or are you like?
No, no, I haven't. I just have Hitchhiker's Guide. I have not done the rest. I should though.
Okay, so there was like an advanced breakaway civilization that Douglas Adams thought of, and they only wanted the smart scientists, and they didn't want anyone to any dumb people or trashy people to come with them. Okay, and there was one guy. All his job was he was like a janitor for telephones. All he would do was just spray and disinfect the mouthpiece of the telephones. Well, that ancient civilization, effed off to wherever they went to, and then they all ended up dying because they didn't have the guy that disinfected the telephones. And then later on, they talk about Big Think, okay? And this is how it ties into the current AI thing that we're currently experiencing, and all this like weird, people talking about, evil witchcraft, the higher ups of technology doing. I don't know if they're visiting other, and there was a computer that they designed to be like the AI supercomputer, masked, so they didn't have to think about anything anymore. And then they asked it to,
we're losing you a bit. I don't know if it's my service. Hey man, we're losing you a bit. I don't know. My service looks okay. I don't know if yours is down. You cut out for like 10 seconds.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, basically you got me now, right?
Not so good. You're jarbled up. Let me Now it's getting worse. It sounds like you're being attacked. The fake birds are eating up all your Wi-Fi. Let's I'm gonna end it and then bring you back in. Let's do that. If you can hear me. I'm gonna end it and bring it back in. I am a caveman. I'm so sorry. My service seems okay, but you never know. The satellites that spy on me interrupt everything. Sometimes it takes me 9 hours to upload these episodes. Thank you, Alex, for being very patient. On Monday or Tuesday, I forget what day it was, you'll realize we were a little late to uploading this because it took like 9 to 10 hours for me to get that episode uploaded. Let's see if this works. He is back. Lord Awesome Sauce. Great conversation. Really enjoying it. We're talking about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And whenever you can hear me, sir, let me know. You are back on.
Are you hearing me now?
A bit. It's a little. It seems like your voice is not traveling to us fully. It's very bizarre. But try it, and we'll see how it goes. Uh-oh. We lost you again.
I'm getting I was at 3 bars and all of a sudden it dropped down to 1 bar. Do you hear me right now?
Now we hear you. Yep.
Okay, I relocated to a different part of the house. Oh, let me grab my notes real quick. Anyway, so yeah, this AI and Douglas Adams with Hitchhiker's Guide, it seems like they really, everything is like coinciding with this future fiction work that Douglas Adams pulled out of, out of his imagination, and whether you want to say people are, tapping into a field where they're receiving information, and then that's how sometimes it flows like a inspirational muse. Mm-hmm. And there was a guy, going back to the dolphins now, there was a guy that he would, I don't know where this was, but he was having sex with a female dolphin. He would put on a scuba tank, and that would weigh him down. And down at the bottom of the tank where the dolphin was, he would, get aroused, and then the female dolphin would get aroused. And are you with me still?
Yeah, I'm here alone, shaking my head in disgust. Why do we know? Like, did he get caught? Like, why do we know this story now?
There's pictures of him in a tank. I don't know the thing, but this was back in the mid '90s, I believe, or possibly right around the 2000s. I remember hearing about this guy, and the female dolphin, she also gets horny, so she would essentially lay her receptacle on top of his member, and she would do the work, and
my gosh,
yeah, you want to talk about animal human hybrids? That's certainly one way of.
All right, yeah, a non-lab made chimera. That is disturbing, dude. I didn't know that story. I mean, I knew about the one we talked about yesterday with the, we talked about it a lot on the show before, the lady and the acid and the NASA experiment. And I know there's, bestiality is unfortunately a thing that happens quite a bit, but that is really, really weird. People are sick.
Yeah. And you know what, as much as you want to say I didn't mean to, I tripped and my dick, did a trick. Yeah, you don't accidentally have sex with a dolphin. It's always on purpose.
Dude, well done. I hope everyone out there is clapping when they hear this part. Well done.
And anyway, that'll do it for me. I'm excited to hear the next caller. In the meanwhile, so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye. Incredible. Back-to-back calls from the great Lord Awesome Sauce. Really appreciate it. I don't know if I have anyone else today. Paranoid American was hoping to come back, but it might not be today. But that was a great call. Edgar Case. Man, what are the odds that today is his birthday? When Lord Awesome Sauce, who is Donald, who was born on National Donald Day on March 22nd. What? This world is amazing. You know what else is amazing? Some of your comments from yesterday. Thank you to Moon Mirage. This is the best analysis of Gerald and his crew available. They, as in the Dolphins, kidnapped that man. It is unacceptable. DMT jesters, evil elves, gangs of rogue dolphins. It's all happening. That's a great comment. Thank you from Potato Joe 2000. Planet of the Dolphins. That's right. Please, if you got someone out there who can fund my movie, I want to make Jaws, but about a dolphin. I guess it could still be called Jaws because they have Jaws, but I want it to be a dolphin. All right. Who out there wants to help me make this? I'm not using AI. I want to make a real deal movie. Doing it. Thank you to David H. Parker. Appreciate the support. Great show and good callers. The callers are awesome. It is so nice to have anyone call back. It's great. I missed it. And I'm glad to see that David said there's some chat veterans in the chat once again. That's amazing. Joe Brezel says, pray for Shane over. I can't even read it. Over his uncontrollable sharding condition. I told you it was the Dolphins. Don't make me hit my phone because I keep shaking this thing. It was the Dolphins, okay? Tober Mori said, I now understand what Hootie meant by the Dolphins make me cry. Oh, my goodness. You guys are so freaking awesome. Hooch the Gooch says anyone who doesn't watch the full episode gets 700 years of bad luck. Thank you guys. I got an awesome response from yesterday's episode. It was very important. I think we covered a lot of ground. There's still more dolphin lore we could cover. I don't want to overdo it. There's way more. Maybe we'll go back for a dolphin round 2. I'll keep up on the dolphin news. I don't think a lot of people are really covering the dolphin. There's a dolphin beat out there. I want to corner that market. The Chaz says, I hate belligerent numerologists, in reference to yesterday's conversation about the numerologist who said he wanted to convert my kids. That's weird. 2XK_ says, Gerald the Dolphin reportedly 2 weeks away from obtaining a nuclear weapon. This is how we win wars, people. This is how we win wars. We got to make the story just right. We know what happens. Once Trump finds out that the Dolphins are about to have nuclear capabilities, we win this war. But then will we? Or it's just another forever war? But now it's with dolphins. And then other, side species start rising up as well. The octopi, they will enter their, they're going to log on to rentahuman.com, and they're going to merge themselves with a human plus AI. And it's going to look great. It's going to be like Krang. We talked about basically Krang last week. These 800,000 lab-grown brains playing Doom, flying planes. Oh, goodness gracious. Or Crawler 7387 says, kind of sounds like you, me, as in me, have been bought out by Atlantis and Big Lobster. How many times did you visit Gilligan's Island? Release the files. All right, look. I'm not being paid off by Atlantis and Big Lobster, but it is. I would consider it. I do like lobster. I've went lobstering, and I do want to find Atlantis. I think at this rate, 2026 is the year we get Bigfoot and Atlantis and Amelia Earhart and Jimmy Hoffa. But who knows? And then this is a great one from some dead hippie. This is the dumbest effing episode you've ever aired. Made it less than 15 minutes. Well, you're welcome. And thank you. Thank you and you're welcome. You guys rule. Thank you so much for tuning in. The liking, the subscribing, the commenting, all that stuff, it's really helping. It's great to see the people showing up, tuning in, and hitting me up with hilarious comments and messages. We are grateful. Tomorrow, if all goes well, we'll have a guest on, and that'll be up at the same time as usual. You know where to find us, YouTube and Rumble at 10 o'clock. And shout out to everyone on YouTube, on Rumble, on Twitter. Anyone send me messages. Appreciate it. Love the support. Have a blessed night. I'll see you tomorrow.